Hi, my name is Lauren Parsons. I am the Director of Strategic Initiatives and Communications at Bluegrass Community Foundation, and I am the staff lead on the GoodGiving Challenge. Thank you all for joining me today. We're just going to cover some basics about how to register for the GoodGiving Challenge, how it works, etc. I am recording this from home, and my dog is here. Hopefully he won't be a problem, but just please excuse him if he barks or whatever. He just entered the room. So I am recording this and I will post it up on YouTube. Maybe not tomorrow, but probably next week. For the last webinar, I meant to do that and my dog started barking. I hit pause on recording. I had to take him out. And when I came back, I forgot to hit start recording. So I did not record any of it. This time we are avoiding that hiccup. So we'll go ahead and get started. Just for those of you who are new to the GoodGiving Challenge and aren't familiar with us, Bluegrass Community Foundation, we co-host the GoodGiving Challenge with Smiley Pete Publishing. Bluegrass Community Foundation has been around since 1967. We build vibrant, generous, equitable, and engaged communities in Central and Appalachia, Kentucky. We steward over 200 million in charitable assets across over 800 funds. And we have awarded $160 million. We'll go ahead and get started. It is 2 o'clock. Kind of say my phone. People don't really give to us, they give through us. So donors give money to us. We grant that out to nonprofit organizations. And everyone, if you can't hear me, will you let me know? Last year, we granted over $15 million in grants to nonprofits. That includes my name is Lauren Parsons. That's I am the Director of Strategic Initiatives and Communications at Bluegrass Community Foundation. Welcome, Kathy. And I am the a little bit about the GoodGiving Challenge. It is an online giving campaign. We're just going to cover community. It makes giving easy and basics fun. About how to register for the GoodGiving Challenge, and that's really easy to do. How during the GoodGiving Challenge. I am recording this from home. In total, since 2011, my dog the GoodGiving Challenge has raised nearly $20 million for local charitable causes, and it launches every year on Giving Tuesday. And this year that will fall on November 28th. So, information about last year's GoodGiving Challenge. And the average raise posted up on YouTube just over $12,000. Maybe not tomorrow, but size is probably $157. The minimum gift for the last webinar, I meant to do the minimum gift to give. My dog's there's no maximum pause on recording. I had to take him out. So when I came back, most people do give more than $10 start recording. So I did not record any of it in matches and prizes. This time we are over 700,000. That's what makes the GoodGiving Challenge so much fun. And a fun stat is that a fourth of donors were giving to a new nonprofit for the first time. I should have also said at the beginning of this, if you have any questions along the way, just drop those in the Q&A box and I will address all of them at the end of the webinar. And then again, the total raise last year was 2.5 million. Last year we had a record number of nonprofits participating. We had 200. Some key dates for you all to remember for this year's GoodGiving Challenge. Registration is open from June 1 to September 1. We have to close it. I mean, it seems early to people because the challenge doesn't start till November, but we have to close it September 1 because we like to have that long runway to do training, to get match dollars in order. We put out the print guide in Smiley Pete Publications, Business Lexington, Chevy Chaser, Southsider. And of course, for a print publication, you have to have ample time to do graphic design, get it off to print and all that. And this year we are including that issue in a month earlier because there were some delivery issues and whatnot in the past, but we'll have those available earlier. And that's why we are, registration closes September 1. And that is, our deadline. So then early giving is something new that we're doing this year. We'll open up early giving around November 13th. We'll have more information about this later on in the fall, but I just wanted to give you all a heads up. We've never offered this before just because of the way our matches have always worked, but we're working on securing a donor for a sponsorship of a match challenge, like an early giving match challenge. So all those gifts scheduled for that time will have their own match. Will have their own match and they won't affect the Murray Foundation opening day match pool that we have. So that was always the concern in the past. This year, we're trying to work that out. But I know it's really nice because the Good Giving Challenge used to be much longer. Now it's only 4 days. So we're hoping, as we do a lot of the promotion on the front end, if people are traveling out of town, maybe won't be available to make those gifts during the Good Giving Challenge, that they can schedule those early. So then the actual challenge will launch November 28th at 9 a.m. and will run through Friday, December 1st at 11:59 p.m. Yeah, and all the gifts come through on bggifts.org. So some of the requirements for organizations to participate in the Good Giving Challenge. You have to be a 501c3 nonprofit organization, according to the IRS, or a charitable program that is fiscally sponsored by such an organization. Likewise, institutions of faith may only participate if fundraising for a non-secular charitable programming component, such as like a food pantry that is operated from within the organization. And educational programs operated within a religious institution, such as a parochial school, may participate so long as funding is used for those educational or charitable purposes. This has always been the case. We are just sort of like formalizing this in the requirements this year, just make it super clear. This is sort of a new one. BGCF, we have our own policy against discretionary grant making to any group identified by the Horizon Forum hate screen as participating in hateful activities. This is sort of a cumulative list of a bunch of different sources. I don't have a list per se that I can like show what organizations are on it, but if you have any questions, I would highly doubt there are like a handful of organizations in Kentucky that are even on this list, and really none of them are in our service area, but we're just kind of getting out in front of this just in case something comes up. I think if you look on something like the Southern Poverty Law Center or some sites like that, you can search for organizations in Kentucky that would be like an example of this, and they're pretty much all in Louisville. So this isn't a current issue. This is just something we're sort of getting out in front of. We have some community foundations that do similar giving events, and they've also instituted these policies. Unfortunately, they were doing it in a reactionary way, and so we're trying to be more proactive about it. Also, organizations must be physically located within the community foundation service area counties. They are listed here, and they're also like listed on our website. And so for this purpose, a post office box does not constitute a physical location for the challenge participation. You have to be actually in one of these counties. You have to have a location there. You can't be like a statewide organization that just serves these counties. You have to be physically located here. And that's because our challenge sponsors, you know, they really want these match dollars and things to be invested locally in the services, in the service area that we serve. So that's that. If you have any questions, there have been things where like an organization had like an office in Lexington, Louisville, the Lexington office closed and they were only in Louisville. And unfortunately, you know, until they open that office back up in Lexington, they can't participate. But there are other, most all areas in Kentucky are served by a community foundation that has a similar giving event. Also, Kentucky Gives is statewide as well. So there's lots of other options. It just can't be the Good Giving Challenge, unfortunately. Also, the registration fee is $500. It has always been $500. In this time of inflation and rising prices, we are proud to still offer this at $500. That goes towards promotion, the print guide, anything else that we do to promote, and anything we have left over, we invest back in the challenge as a pop-up power hour, prizes, everything like that. We are a nonprofit as well. We do not profit off the Good Giving Challenge at all. But this fee of $500 must be paid by September 1. So there's the option to pay online while you're registering. You can pay with credit card, debit card, ACH, electronic check, or if you have a fund at BGCF, if your nonprofit has a fund, you can request a fund transfer. Just send us an email and we will take care of that for you. How does the Good Giving Challenge work? So to be eligible for match prizes, to have donations added to your ticker that will be on the BGGive site during the challenge, those donations must come in via bggifts.org. So donors can give the same way, electronic check, debit credit card, or if they have a fund at BGCF, they can make a donation through that. They get instructions on how to do that as well. a lot of times a nonprofit will call and say, hey, a donor sent us a check and they want us to process this during the challenge. How do we do that? Like, unfortunately, you can't. You can ask the donor to do that themselves, but it's just too much risk for you to enter that online, for us to enter that online. Like if you add an extra zero, it's going to be a problem. So the donors really need to do that themselves. Sometimes I know nonprofits have had like a little pop-up donation spot at their locations and have like a laptop set up, and donors will come in and put their information in if they need help, or they come down to your office and you can walk them through it. But those donations do need to come in on bggifts.org. The donors receive an immediate tax receipt by email that comes from Bluegrass Community Foundation. So you don't need to worry about that. You can just send them a thank you note. Like I said earlier, the minimum donation is $10. There's no maximum donation. We have had donations of $100,000 come through during the challenge. So there is truly no maximum. And all of those donations are tax deductible, which means 100% tax deductible, which means like you can't offer items like quid pro quo in exchange for donations, like, NPR, like World Wildlife Foundation or something. They'll say, like, if you give it this level, you get a tote bag or a t-shirt or a water bottle or whatever. You can't do that during the challenge because that's an accounting problem for us. All fees on gifts made during the Good Giving Challenge are assessed a 5.3% fee. That's like Stripe fee, processing fee, all that stuff. It's just kind of standard practice across the board now, unfortunately. And the fee for giving with the donor advised fund at BGCF is there's no fee there. So one thing we'll do later on, this summer, maybe early fall, is have a separate session on donor advised funds from one of our team members who is really involved with opening up those for donors. If you have any donors who you think give at a high level year after year, it might be really beneficial for them to open up a fund at BGCF and give that way, so that they don't have to pay those additional fees, et cetera. So that's, and the good thing is though, that donors can cover fees during checkout. So most donors do just click on that box that says, increase my donation by 5.3%. So the vast majority, I think it's like 75 to 80% do cover those fees. And then when do you get paid? That's always the question. So, how it works is gifts made during the challenge are really like, because the tax receipt comes from us, it's like a gift to us, and then we grant it back out to you. Since the challenge ends on December 1, we have to leave like 2 to 3 weeks for sort of like dispute periods for credit cards, any check to bounce, things like that. It does happen. Sometimes donors challenge a credit card gift. It's, every year there's always like some weird thing that happens. So we have to wait 2 to 3 weeks for all of those gifts to clear. And then at that time, that's when we go through and our finance team does it. I don't do it. But they go through, and that's when they start calculating which gifts that process, which are eligible for match prizes. And then they start to do the math on that, and they start to calculate those match dollars. And then there's a grand total. And then, as you know, that puts us at the end of the year. It's the holidays. We're closed for some time. Also, the end of the year, as you know, in your own organization, is probably a very busy time for gifts. It's a very busy time for our finance team. So then that puts us, usually we are able to fully process those checks, because then there's a letter that goes out with each of those checks that has a breakdown of every your fundraising totals, all the match dollars and all that stuff. So that's usually mailed now around mid-January. So year after year, those checks go out the following year. I know a lot of groups want those dollars to hit their account by the end of this calendar year. They are always going out early the following year. So we try to do it as quickly as we can. In the past, the site was open for donations like through December 31st. I think my first couple of years at the Community Foundation, that was the case. But we closed that just because we want to be able to pay you all as quickly as we can. So mid-January, it's in pink because please take note. I get a lot of questions towards the end of the year about when y'all are going to get paid. And I get it. We all want to be paid. So the benefits of participating. So these are just a few, and I'll just quickly go through these. Some tools. We have this easy to use online giving platform at bggives.org. I kind of joke, I love my mom dearly. She is not tech savvy, but Rhonda can give on her smartphone. And she makes her gifts every year. I'm like, if Rhonda can do it, anybody can do it. So the platform, I promise, is really easy to use. And we offer really nice like peer-to-peer fundraising tools that make it really easy for your biggest fans to even fundraise on your behalf. Support, there is support not only from Neon One, who is our platform provider, but we will have regularly scheduled calls. Once registration closes September 1, we'll have like weekly calls and even some more like deep dives on different trainings, like fundraising best practices, social media stuff, donor advice funds, all that stuff to really help prepare you. And I guess I sort of touched on this just now. Training, we'll have lots of webinars, toolkits. Some like last year's toolkits are still up on the site, but we'll send out updated toolkits throughout the summer and into fall. And then promotion, it is so much fun. We love promoting the Good Giving Challenge. We already are working on our marketing plan. It includes print, TV, radio, digital, the whole gamut. So we love to promote the challenge. We'll take care of that. You just worry about promoting yourselves during that time. And then the matches and prizes. That is the most exciting part of the challenge. That these just help your donors' gifts go even farther. You know, during some match times, a $10 gift can become $20 if there was a $50 for dollar match, or it could be randomly selected for $1,000 prize. Like, who knows? Anything can happen. So it makes it really fun to watch when the challenge is going on. So the nonprofit registration, if you're new, it's super easy to do. It really, if you start the process, it really walks you through. If you go to bggives.org, you will hover over that like login button over here in the top right-hand corner, and you log in as a nonprofit. And then it will ask you if you're new, apply as a new organization, or if you've participated in previous years, log in as a returning organization. And then it will walk you through the steps. If you don't remember your password and you need to reset it, it will walk you through that. Neither I nor any of my staff have access to your passwords for this BG Give site. So you'll have to use the blue support button that's in the lower right-hand corner of that screen to request help from Neon One to reset that if you need it. Or if you, well, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but if you are a returning organization, but you need a new user profile, like maybe the person who handled fundraising or whatever for your organization is gone, there is a prompt there, and you will need to reach out to Neon One for help with setting a new user profile for your organization, because you don't want to use the old user profile, because that will go to that previous person's like email address, and it causes a lot of communication issues down the line. So that's how you will take care of that. So this is the process for new organizations. If you're new, click that you're new. You will submit an eligibility form, which is pretty much, it just has like the demographic information. So our team will review that. I say our team, it's usually me, but I have my communications associate, Courtney, also takes care of some of these as well. But we'll look at that. We'll just make sure you have your gold seal on GuideStar, that you, there's lots of resources on our website too to help with that. So that you're, 501c3, that kind of dovetails with that GuideStar requirement, that you are in our service area, just that you check all these boxes that you're eligible to participate. So we will say that, yes, you are eligible to participate. It will sort of like send an email, it'll kick back out to you to go in and then complete that next step of actually registering. So it will send you this email to set up your password and your user profile, and then you'll log in as a returning organization and submit your registration for approval. That's the key last step. And I'll show you, we'll do a demo of the site later. You'll need to submit it for approval. And then that's when you'll pay your registration fee. So when, if you're a returning organization and you log in, you're going to click this here, register my organization to get started. And then this is for all. Well, no, this is just for the returning. Your profile is pre-filled with last year's information, or if you're new, it's the information you submitted with your eligibility form. So you make those updates. Then once you've reviewed all that, you click Save Changes and Submit for approval. And I will say, you are able to update your page up until the challenge starts. So up until, what's that date, December 27th, you'll be able to update your profile, add photos, add videos, make little tweaks. You can do all that until the challenge actually starts. So it's a good time to sort of like look around, see what other, if you're new, see what other organizations are doing, see what works, what you think looks great, what represents your organization. You can make those tweaks later. This is something you would do later, setting your event goals. This would be like your fundraising goals, your early giving goals, any peer-to-peer fundraising goals. You can update these. Again, this says, no thanks, I'll do it later. You can think about that later. Well, I'll go back to one thing, because a lot of, we encourage nonprofits, although we do secure and line up those match prizes, a lot of successful nonprofits in their fundraising secure their own match opportunities from board members or big donors. So that's where you would sort of like key some of these things into. And then there's a lot of great like multimedia things you can add to your public profile. And I can go through all that. And this is more, I guess, of later, what you would do later, but you can add specific donation levels. This is just a great tool. What a $25 donation gets, what a $50 donation gets. You sort of quantify these. It might really push somebody up a level if they see, oh, I was going to get 50, but I can see what a $100 donation can do. And also it's really nice. You can't see it now because we're not in that giving mode. But when someone clicks on donate to this organization, it will pre-populate those donation levels. Otherwise, it's just like a blank that they'll fill in. So if you're really trying to get donations at a certain level, you would want to pre-populate those. It's easy. Once we get closer, once registration closes, I will do another webinar that shows like what that giving mode looks like. Again, this is just the information about adding photos and videos to your public profile. And photos have to be below 5 megabytes. PNG and JPEG images are preferred, and YouTube and Vimeo videos have to be public on your page. So it's really super easy. I'll show you how to do it. You will just click a link to your YouTube page, like the video, just copy that link and then paste it in there, and it adds the video to your page. It's super easy, but the videos just have to be public, not private. And this is all still in here because I'm going to send these slides as well. But the fundraiser pages, we'll just get into that later. These are just how your board members and donors can create fundraiser pages. These are just like their own. We have a lot of, for example, there's a nonprofit who participates every year, and their executive director's birthday is in early December. So she'll, have a fundraiser page that's like, it's like her birthday gift, make a donation to her organization in honor of her birthday. It's a really great way to encourage your board members to get engaged. They can set a fundraising goal of $500 and post this on their social media profiles, put it in an email to some of their network. And it's just a really easy way for them to promote your organization. And it has their own like fundraising tracker and stuff like that. It just makes it really fun, and you can make it as competitive as you want it to be. One of the great things too, if you participated before and haven't already done this, you can log in and see all of the donations that have been made to your organization since we've been on this provider. I think they go back to 2017. So when you log in, you go to My Donations, you can download a spreadsheet of just 1 year, all years, and whatever. And then you can upload that spreadsheet. Like if you use MailChimp or Constant Contact, you can upload those folks into your communication systems, and you can stay in touch with them throughout the year. Oh, and this is just where you want to make sure when you are logged in and you're looking at all the users that are tied to your page, you just want to make sure that's updated, because that's how we'll pull our mailing list for this year. We don't use the same mailing list year after year because there's new organizations every year. So we will pull our mailing list, and it will include users for your organization. So if there's folks on your team who you want to receive notifications for us or have access to your profile, you'll want to add them as a user. And one nice thing, we'll send all of our toolkits and things, we'll send them directly via email. We'll send you a link to a Google Drive that they'll all be in, but they're also all in Neon One. So if you have questions about anything with the site, like technology wise, logging in, setting up user profiles, if your donors have issues, I mean, it's really great. Their Neon One support is very responsive. They like to get back to you within a day. So you just click on that in that support button on the right-hand corner of the screen, and it'll shoot them an email, and they'll get back to you really soon. And I will go ahead, I will log in. See if I can click on that. There we go. And I'll just do like a quick demo of the site. I'm going to log in as a nonprofit, and I'm just going to demonstrate. So here is what I was showing you. Click login as a nonprofit, and then here it asks you a few questions. So if you're returning, you would click this. If not, you're going to apply as a new organization. So we'll see. You can see here, can't remember your password, or has your organization participated, but you're a new user needing access. You would click on this button down here. That's that blue support button that I was mentioning. So you just click on that. It adds this, it looks like a chat box. It really sends an email to Neon One support team. And that is manned like 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 all the time. On the first day of the challenge, they will be monitoring that for 24 hours. But then after that, it will be just, like a regular workday. So I'm going to show you what it looks like registering as a new organization. And this is a great step that it does. This is new, I believe, because some groups have inadvertently created multiple profiles for their organization within the site, and that causes a lot of confusion. So I'm just going to do like test. It tests to see if your organization if your email is already in the system. So it wasn't, because that's just a made up email address. So you can see here, this is where you would fill out just that demographic information, just like what's your organization's name. If you are a fiscally sponsored by a parent organization, this is where you would include that. This custom URL, let me show you what that is, because we do get questions about that. So right now, if you go on the site, you can see all the organizations that have already completed their registration. That custom URL is just what you want to show up sort of after the bggives.org/whatever. So make it something easy. Don't make it too long, but make it something that's like recognizable to your group. So that's that custom URL. This is your logo. You have to upload that. Operating budget. This is your category that describes your organization's mission. This is self-selected, so decide how best to describe your organization, and then your county. Some groups are in more than one county, but think about where your primary location is. Your public contact information, your event contact, mailing address, physical address, any links that you have like to your website, social media channels. You can see here as an example, step by step has like all these. So that just makes an easy email to an admin, link to a Facebook page, all that stuff. So just makes it easy for folks to learn more about your organization that way. The alert text. Okay, that is this orange section here. That's the alert text. So so that's something you can have like an urgent need right there, something you're really focused on. Some groups don't use it, and some they sort of they're quite varied. See, Feed doesn't use it, but you can poke around on these pages and see how groups use the alert text in different ways. Okay, so this is another question that people have. This terms and conditions. You can download the rules here, and it's a good idea to do that and read them. These are the 2023 rules. None of these are new, except we did add, like I mentioned earlier in the webinar, about the Horizon Forum hate screen, and then the added clarity about faith organizations. But other than that, it's pretty much the same from the next year. So you can go ahead and review those and download that here. We will have another webinar. I think Haley, our general counsel, is going to do that after registration closes, so you can just get everybody done all at once. So after September 1, you'll hear from Haley, and there will be a webinar and a DocuSign that you'll have to sign there, just because we need to have a record of that, just in case there are any issues. But for now, you can just like click here with your mouse and draw your signature. If you don't like the way it looks, you can clear it, but like, it doesn't really matter. This is just for this process. We will have you officially sign something later. And then your user information, I can't submit it because I didn't fill it all out, but, and then it will submit for approval. I'll get that notification, I'll review it, I'll say you're approved, and then you'll go in and I'll show you what will happen after, how that looks when I'm gonna just have to log out and try again. I'm going to log in as a returning organization. So you can see how that looks. Because if you're new, when you log back in after that, this is what it will look like for you. So you can see here, if you have logged in but haven't clicked on that submit your registration, it will say here in red, filling out profile. That means you are not registered. So you will want to go in and click register my organization. And as you can see, this information is pre-populated with the information from previous years. So then you would click, if you are ready to register, you would just click save. If you are ready to pay your fee, this is what you would do next. You would click that save and submit fee. So the registration fee here populates as $500. You can choose to pay by credit card, bank account. Because I am logged in on Google Chrome, it is prompting me to pay with Google Pay. If you're a Safari user, or using it, I guess, on your iPhone, it would do Apple Pay. We get a lot of questions about like using other payment profiles. It depends on what you're logged in using. But like Apple Pay and Google Pay are just another way of submitting your credit card information. So it's the same thing, but I could do that here. I don't really want to do that because that's my personal card. So if I was ready to do that, I would submit this. If you want to pay by check, you would click pay fee externally and submit registration. So that will come out to me, and you will be in a separate sort of like section on the dashboard that I see, and it will say that you have registered, but you are sending in a check. So then I have like a short list of what groups are doing that. If you need an invoice to process it, it doesn't generate one automatically, but we can like make one for you and send that to you. Just let me know. But if I were to key in my credit card information here, I would click pay fee and submit registration. And then that comes out to me. I would just look at that to make sure I'll check that to make sure you have your gold seal, your GuideStar gold seal. And then I would click approve if you have it. If you don't have it, you would be hearing from Barbara Fisher on our staff. She is our director of nonprofit services, and she will help you with that. I can show you on bgcf.org on our page. We have some resources for you under community engagement and then Good Giving Challenge. Down here towards the bottom, there's a YouTube video provided by GuideStar that is really helpful. It walks you through like step by step, and then I need to move this button up because I updated this. But this is a PDF of how to earn your gold seal of transparency. It's really easy to do. This is a requirement that we all organizations that BGCF grants to have to have a GuideStar Gold Seal for any grant making, like RFPs or whatever. So, this is just something, it walks you through step by step. Candid has really great support. They can help you through it, or Barbara Fisher can. But yeah, it's very simple to do. Let's see, where are we? So I think that's it. But you can see here, there are some things that I can just show you, even though I'm not completely registered. You can see here, those fundraisers, what I was talking about, those P2P fundraisers. You can see fundraisers from previous years. You can always see donations that come through those. Your donors, the people who created those fundraisers can easily like copy those for the next year. If a lot of organizations actually, I don't know if they're registered yet. Let me see. Oh, Providence Montessori. They always do a great job of using those P2P fundraiser pages. They already have some going. I mean, they're a school, so it's really easy for them to sort of quantify different fundraisers. This is a great like visual way that they do it. You can see here, and these are like last year's totals, I guess. I don't know why that's showing up that way. I'm going to check on that, but these are last year's. But you can see here just as great examples of like, you know, what donations would give, different like goals they have for different programming. So it's just a really nice visual way to show that. Again, on the public profile, I will just go through some things really quickly. So you can see here, if you click on this and you see this filling out profile, that means you are not registered. You would need to go in and do that. The donation levels, again, that's what we talked about. You can add like what $50 gets, what $100 gets, really easy to customize. You can add multimedia. It is very easy to do. You would click on this button up here. If it's a picture, you just like upload a file from, you know, your desktop or wherever. Hopefully this isn't too big. All right. And then you just title it. And it's that easy. I don't have another YouTube example that I can show, but if you do a video, you just click whatever the title is, and then you would copy the link here, and it just shows up like this on your back end, the back end of the page for you, and then you would see it on your public profile, like once you're registered. You won't show up here until you're like fully registered. You've submitted your registration, you've paid your fee, and then once you're finally approved, you'll show up on this page. The other thing, the users, yeah. I'm the only user for this, but if you needed to add a staff member, you would add them here. Also the resource center, here's where you can go in and see some of the things from last year that we had. I've updated the rules in this section, but you can see like an example of last year's matches and prizes if you're curious about what we had last year. We still have the like profile checklist, strategy builder toolkit. We had, I guess this is a link to the webinar, the YouTube page that we have. We had last year's webinars up, and we have like the logos, board member toolkit, and nonprofit marketing toolkit. So some of these will update just with like, you know, dates for this year, but for the most part, you could go, if you wanted to go in and start reading these, that would be fine. You would just know like the dates would not be correct. But yeah, that's the most of, I think, what you need to worry about in this section of the site for now. So I'm going to end this and go back to my presentation. And again, if you have a question, just put that in the Q&A. I'm going to leave just a few minutes at the end to go over questions. So after you are fully registered on the site, what next? So I already mentioned that rules webinar and that DocuSign information will come from Haley at bgcf.org after registration closes. So that's September 1, like the following week, like right after, I guess, right after Labor Day. So you'll hear from Haley. The print guide. We have to send all of the content to the graphic designer for the print guide September 5th. So that means I will be collecting information from you throughout the summer. And what does that mean? So that means we pull like your organization name, your website, your county, all of that from your profile on BG Gives. What I will also need from you is your logo if you're new, or if your logo has changed since last year, and a photo that's sort of like representative of your organization. I think in another email in the resource center, it was just there and I should have clicked on it. Last year's print guide is there, so you can see an example of what folks used in previous years. So just something like, if you have something with faces, something that demonstrates what your organization does, just make it look, you know, very appealing to donors. That will be in the print guide. So I will need all that information September 1 at the same time as registration closes. So it is a very tight timeline. I did not want to end registration earlier just to get all this stuff in. So we're going to make it work. You'll probably be hearing from me all summer. We'll have trainings, webinars. We'll have like a weekly Zoom meeting. I'll send you all the updated toolkits in September after that registration period closes. The matches and prizes, the same thing. Every year people say they want to know earlier, and like, I wish we could share as early as possible. The deadline we hope for, for sponsors to finalize with us is also September 1, because we want to include that in the print guide, right? So I will send out a webinar invitation in September that will walk through just all the matches and prizes. I'll do it like day by day. We have some geographic challenges for like Clark County and Boyle County. I'll walk through those. I'll walk through everything in September. We are already working hard. I was working on lining up sponsors right after the challenge ended last year. So we already have some lined up. We are working on others, and we're adding new ones. And so we're really excited about some of the opportunities that might happen. So we're about halfway there. We've already secured over half of what we had offered last year. So we're hard at work. I know you want to know what they are. So do I. I wish that was already well decided, but we're still working on it. You'll find out in September. Promotion. So our campaign for promoting the challenge, I mean, we'll be promoting it all fall. I mean, we're still promoting registration. We'll be promoting the challenge. I was just on a local news program yesterday talking about it. So we talk about it year round, trust, but our official like campaign, our digital ads, our billboards, print materials, all that really starts after election day. So you can find all that. We have PSAs on local TV stations. We'll have, radio on like WUKY and things like that. So we really start our campaign after election day, because the field, the advertising field, the rates are higher in a pre-election day. So we'll start all that really after election day through the end of the challenge. And then that early giving, that tentative start date's like November 13th. More to come on that. I don't really even know how it works yet, so I will have more for you soon, as soon as I know more. I like there was something I was looking at here that made me think of something else. I can't remember. I mean, also the thing is, if you're, I remember what it was. In a previous, in the last webinar, during the last webinar, somebody had asked if I knew the average of what organizations received in matches during the challenge. So I am not an Excel whiz by any means, okay? So I don't know if this is correct. And how we do our matches is we have a spreadsheet that my finance team puts together. They are very good at Excel. I was, a political science major, so this was not my strong suit, but they had a spreadsheet, and how they do it is they break down the matches by match. So I had to like add up the match totals for each organization and then average that out. So I'm not sure if I did it right. It looks like according to my calculations, the average last year for what the average organization received in matches was about $3,000. However, so I'm going to keep in mind the highest that an organization got, the most that an organization got, who is not one of those Clark County organizations. So typically Clark County does the Clark County Community Foundation, excuse me, does a dollar for dollar match to organizations that are in Clark County and are using those funds for Clark County, purposes. They offer a dollar for dollar match. I think some organizations got like, it depends, it varies. It's dollar for dollar on what they got, and then if guaranteed like up to 7,500, and then they make sure they have a whole pool that they make sure is awarded out, like $255,000 total. So the highest match amount from an organization that was not in the Clark County group of nonprofits was $12,265. So that's a pretty good amount. The highest, including a Clark County group, was $15,000. But there are so many groups who raised, and this is just the match. This is not how much they raised. We already said that the average raise was like 12,000. So, there were some groups who and especially if it's your first year, it's kind of confusing about how this works. I get that. Wait, yeah. Okay. Again, I said I'm not. Yes. So there's lots of groups who get, over 1,000 in matches. Well make back their registration fee or whatever. Some groups, 99% of groups last year got a match. That means there was only one who didn't get any match money. So it sort of ranges. It depends on how focused you are and your messaging. And when we have the match webinar, we'll get into more detail on this, but it depends on how focused you are on fundraising as a whole or on matches in general. Some people really go after matches. They're, very focused on that. And some are just happy to receive donations. We all should be, right? But so that just depends. But that was the average. The average last year was about 3,000 in matches. And in addition to what they raised, their fundraising totals. And then the highest was for an organization that didn't get that dollar for dollar match, that county match. I just thought that kind of like leveled the playing field, was over 12,000. So I don't know if that's helpful for anybody. The other thing I was thinking, that $500 registration fee. I know some organizations, it's hard to get their board members on board with that, or maybe it's tough for them to make that case for why it's worth it. I would say I have a lot of conversations with organizations that are like, I couldn't even get the exposure that you get during that week is well worth the $500. You get the inclusion in the print guide. You're going to be, listed in all our print ads. Last year we did a fun thing, and we did a full page ad in the Herald Leader and a spread in Thompson Lex that listed all the nonprofits out. The exposure you get during that week is well worth the $500. Plus, if you get matches and all that and fundraising dollars, you earn it back. So that's, it's a net. But then I know there's an organization, they were having trouble. They just didn't know if they could pay that, but then they had a board member step in and sponsor that, pledge that $500 to pay the match amount. So, the registration fee, I'm sorry. So, there are ways, if you want to get creative, that can happen. So I would just say, don't be discouraged, by that amount. And it hasn't changed since 2011. So, if you have a question, go ahead and pop that in the Q&A, or if you want to raise your hand, I think I could figure out how to call on people maybe. So there is a question, can donors who have funds with BGCF transfer during the challenge? So yes, donors who have a donor advised fund at BGCF are able to make a gift. Now it's all integrated into the site. They can make that gift on bggives.org. There is specific instructions that we send out to our donor advised funds holders, and we will share those with you all as well. So if you want to communicate, if you know you have donors who have a fund with us, it's like a separate step instead of I think it's when you go to checkout, there are I will send out the instructions from last year. I think there's a link on our site about how to give with a donor advised fund, but I think it's like right before checkout, and it may move this year. So I don't want to be held to this. We complained to me on one that it was a little confusing, or maybe the button need to be a little bit bigger, but it's like, as you're checking out, you'll see like all of your donors. Okay. Donors add their donations to their cart. I should have mentioned this. I kind of like to say it's as easy as online shopping. A lot of donors give to multiple organizations at once. So that is why it's also really easy for donors to give during the Good Giving Challenge, because if they like to make lots of year-end gifts to different organizations, they can do that all at once, and then they get that one receipt for all their contributions, and they can get matched dollars on it. So that's really, really nice. So you can add those multiple donations to your cart. Like you can give $50 here, 50 here, 100 here, whatever you want to do. And then you check out all at once. So then when you're going through the checkout process, it will ask if you were checking out using your donor advised fund at BGCF. And then you would click that, you enter your name, your first and last name, the name of your fund, and then it processes it that way. And that actually sends, we have a team member in our grants and scholarships team. They go through and they review all of those and process all of those. So they kind of do that back end work of making sure there's like sufficient funds in the donor advised fund to cover that grant. So then they make the grant over to the Good Giving Challenge account, and then it's processed that way. So we can have a separate session about that later. That was requested last year. We always do like a survey at the end of the challenge, and somebody requested that we have a session on donor advised funds because they can give with no fee assessed. So that's the nice thing. Unless you're like me and I forgot to take the fee off, because I always add the fee. So then we worked out. I gave the organizations extra money. There's no harm there, but anyway, so we'll have a separate session on that. But yes, if your donors have a donor advised fund at BGCF, they can give that way. If your donors have a donor advised fund somewhere else, like Fidelity, that doesn't work for this event. I'm not trying to call out Fidelity. That's just an example. But it's because it's sort of like an interfund transfer with us. That's how it works. Yes, the toolkits, everything from last year is still up on the resources page. And I will send a follow-up email to everybody on our list once I get this uploaded to YouTube. And it just takes time to like trim it down, add the images at the beginning, the end, get it uploaded and all that. I will send a link that has all these resources in it. And we'll go ahead and start updating the dates for this year for the toolkits and stuff, and get those out. But yes, those toolkits are still in the resource center when you log in on BG Gives. And it's helpful to go ahead and start planning your strategy. And, I know some groups have board meetings, maybe quarterly or something. So we'll go ahead and that will be on our list of things to do to update those for 2023. Are there any other questions about the challenge, about how it works? I don't know. I absolutely love it. The other fun thing that we'll do is we'll have like a kickoff press conference. We always invite the mayor. The last few years, Santa Claus has come, which has been really fun. We have hot cocoa and cookies and carolers, and we just try to make it a really fun, festive way to kick off that season of giving. And then last year we had a wrap party at West 6, and we're going to do that again. It's a really fun way to sort of like bookend the week of giving. We encourage the news media to come, and last year I was really pleased. All the stations came out and did an update and the last push for giving. on that Friday afternoon. So it's a really fun way to celebrate a week of hard work and weekend longer of hard work, and just kind of celebrate all this. So these slides I will also share in that email that will go out. I will share these slides and the link to the YouTube and the link to the resources from previous years. These will all go out in an email. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow, probably definitely next week, hopefully early next week, depending on how long it takes to process the video and things. I don't know if there are any other questions. I'm just going to leave it open for another minute just to see if there's any other questions come through. I'm just going to indicate that I've answered all these questions live. But yeah, thank you all for your time. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email, lauren@bgcf.org. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about how the challenge works, what to expect. We're here to help. I love the Good Giving Challenge. It's probably, I say this about everything I get to do at BGCF, but it's probably my favorite thing I get to do at BGCF. It's so much fun. I love learning about all of your organizations. I love being able to help you have a successful fundraising week. So thank you all for your time today. And I look forward to working with you this year to make this Good Giving Challenge the biggest and best yet. Thanks.